Last night, AOC talked about her personal experience during the Capitol attack. She talked about being in her office, that afternoon, and all of a sudden she hears a banging at her door, as you heard in the clip, asking, "Where is she? Where is she?" And she didn't know who it was. She said the person did not identify themselves. So she had one staffer that came to the Hill with her that day. And so she immediately, went to find a place to hide. And after a little bit of hiding, she said her staffer came and told her it was okay to come out. And she came out to a man who then identified himself as a Capitol Police officer. But she said that she felt still kind of skeptical about it because he hadn't identified himself before. And he was looking at her with some type of anger, she felt. And so he directed her to run to another building, and where she eventually ended up taking shelter. And so it just kind of speaks to the calls from her and several other Democrats that they kind of feel unsafe and they don't know who to trust. Several Democrats have suggested that the rioters may have had inside help from either the Capitol Police Force or even other members of Congress.
I'm wondering, Jarrell, why she spoke to speak out now, nearly a month after what happened.
So she actually gave a couple of reasons. The first reason, she said that she couldn't speak about the situation due to security concerns. And then the second reason was she talked about a little bit of trauma that she experienced. She compared the experience of, calls from GOP lawmakers to get over the riot and for the Democrats to move on. She compared it to her own personal experience of sexual assault and how sometimes people can tell sexual assault victims, just get over it and move on. And she said that some of that trauma is what kept her from telling the story.
This is a big deal to hear from a member of Congress speak openly about the trauma that she's experienced, especially coming after years of hearing about men in positions of power who have been accused of sexual assault.
Yeah, it is really big to hear. And I last night on Twitter after her live video, I saw, an outpouring of support from her other, Democratic lawmakers that, came out and supported her and kind of comforted her and thanked her for telling her story, because I saw a lot of them said that they have stories too that I guess they haven't told yet. And it was really a big moment.
Jarrell, you mentioned that there's concern about who knew what about the Capitol Hill rioters and to what extent. A lot of questions about to what extent that the Capitol Police Force was protected. What, if anything, have we heard from lawmakers in response to some of AOC's assertions about the January 6th riot?
Well, in terms of Capitol Police, a lot of Democratic lawmakers have called for investigations into the response. I do know that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has directed some type of security review into what happened that day. And then on the other side of the coin, you have some GOP lawmakers who are kind of trying to push away from this. We know that a group of GOP lawmakers actually sent a letter to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in an attempt to condemn Ocasio-Cortez for saying on Twitter that Ted Cruz played a part in trying to have her murdered, because we know that she has called for Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz to resign for their role as leaders among the GOP members that objected to the election results last month. Wow.